Here's what happened in international relations. In the last 24 hours, the World Health Organization has passed a historic pandemic treaty requiring countries to share 20% of vaccines and treatments during global health emergencies. The US, however, chose not to sign. In Gaza, Israel has allowed limited food aid after intense global pressure, but humanitarian groups say it's far from enough, with children dying of malnutrition. Meanwhile, Western powers, UK, France, and Canada, have condemned Israel's military offensive, calling it disproportionate. On the Russia-Ukraine front, President Putin rejected a ceasefire proposed during a call with Donald Trump, though both sides agreed to resume talks. In U.S. politics, the Supreme Court allowed the removal of protections for 350,000 Venezuelan migrants, enabling mass deportations. The Senate also advanced the Genius Act to regulate stablecoins and prevent crypto market abuse. And in New Zealand, Parliament was thrown into chaos after Maori MPs performed the haka in protest.
Members of the World Health Organization have voted in favor of a landmark global pandemic agreement. The agreement includes how to prepare for future pandemics following the COVID-19 outbreak. 124 countries voted in favor. This pact ensures vaccines, drugs, and therapeutics are globally accessible for the next possible outbreak. No one voted against it, but 11 countries did abstain, including Poland, Israel, and Italy.
24 votes to 0.
Shalom. First and foremost, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barakatham. Peace and blessings to the sincere Akim and Akwath out there keeping the faith and diligence of our Lord Yahweh Shai, noising this gospel abroad, occupying in the prophecies until the Lord will, we are redeemed and all is fulfilled. So there's a lot going on around the earth, but we're definitely in a time of great judgment coming forth. And, as it is written in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And like I said, you have a lot going on, but today you just had the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, and Salakia for the ice cream truck, man. I've been waiting for this thing to, pass on by, but hopefully it's not that bad. But anyway, you just had the WHO pass a, landmark. Let's go here. All right, a landmark pandemic treaty, which pretty much is going to deal with this next pandemic that's going to come up. And over the years, you've heard the likes of Klaus Schwab and Gates, speak of this thing, the next mystery contagion, disease X, all right, in which they're saying is going to wipe out majority of the Earth's population. And in response to that, they've passed this pandemic treaty that, majority of nations on the earth will have access to the V when this thing comes about. Now, we know what happened with the last round of the V, all right? How many people have gone back to the spirit world behind that? But these devils, as it says in Revelation 12 and 12, they're coming down with great wrath. So they about to up the ante. Because you have to keep in mind that they have a Depop agenda in which they want to do away with majority of people on the earth, the useless eaters, the Goyim, right? And you see this guy right here, Tedros, all right? I'm not sure if he's a Jake or not, but, if he is a Jake, he's really not running nothing. He's the head of the organization, but they're getting the orders from the elites, from the, elite bankers, right, which are all Edomites, man. All right, so they all got to fall in line. They got to push these policies. They got to push these mandates because ultimately we're coming into this NWO. All right, and with that is going to come great turmoil, great chaos, great death, famines, and everything is going to be out of order. All right, so that they can bring their order that they want. All right, so this right here, the world now has its first ever pandemic treaty. Will it make a difference? And this is all in the name of peace and safety. And let's go to 1 Thessalonians 5. First Thessalonians verse 5, the day of the Lord. First Thessalonians 5:1, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Right. So our brother Paul, all right, is writing, to the Thessalonians, really to us, that look, there's no need that I have to write unto you. You well know what time it is. You can see what's happening in the earth and know that the time is short. Right. Verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor the darkness. Okay? So when these devils, because this is a peace and safety measure that they just passed this, right? When they say peace and safety, that's when the real hell is going to come. All right? And our Lord Yahweh Shah told us that in the last days we would see a lot of pestilence, disease going about. That's a major sign of last days prophecy, that there will be diseases all over the place. And this is exactly what we're seeing now. So the fact that these devils passed this at this convenient time, okay, we know there's a project 2025 going on globally. All right, we see the governments are being unstabilized. Digital currencies are coming to the forefront. Everything is pretty much going on the grid, going digital. All right, so with this next pandemic, all right, which they're talking about is going to happen very soon, this is going to be their chance to reset. Okay, it's going to be their chance to reset and bring in a new governance on the earth. Okay, member states of the World Health Organization voted overwhelmingly to adopt the first ever pandemic agreement, a treaty aimed at preventing, preparing for, and responding to any future pandemic. After 3 years of tough negotiations, no country voted against the agreement at WHO's annual meeting. The U.S. did not attend this meeting because of President Trump's intent to withdraw from WHO membership. And just because he wants to, on the surface, to withdraw from the WHO doesn't mean that he's not aligned with the policy of the WHO. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. It says the world is safer today thanks to leadership, collaboration, and commitment of our member states to adopt the historic WHO pandemic agreement. Now, what did we just read in 1 Thessalonians 5? It says, when they shall say peace and safety, all right? Tedros, he's saying that the world is now safer, right? Which that's a blatant lie, man. All right, right now the earth is very dangerous, okay? You got danger brewing everywhere that you look, but he's calling for peace and safety. All right, this how you know that something big is about to go down, man. All right, these devils are playing with the power grid in many different nations. They're talking about disease coming around. A lot of people are going back to the spirit world due to various causes. So when things really start to go left, famines are brewing as well. People are losing their livelihood, all right, which is all coming down from these devils, man. So see, this is the beginning stages of being ushered in to a new reality. The agreement is a victory for public health, science, and multilateral action. It will ensure we collectively can better protect the world from future pandemic threats. And if you believe that these devils actually care about the people of the earth, then you're sadly mistaken, all right? They show you they don't give a damn about you every single day, all right? So the fact that this guy is talking about this is a victory for public health, I mean, you should know that this is all BS. It is also a recognition by the international community that our citizens, societies, and economies must not be left vulnerable to again suffer losses like those endured during CV-19. And was it not these same nations that have aligned themselves with the WHO? Was it not them that administered that serpent venom to their population? All right, which is overwhelmingly thinned out the Earth's population drastically. Compared to pre-pandemic, a lot of people have gone back to the spirit world and are continuing to. And those that have not yet, they're sick and they're just about there. You see? So it's only a matter of time, okay, before they just let loose. All right. The 30-page treaty lays out a framework for preventing pandemics from even starting, right? Which how the hell can you ensure that? All right. Which they know because they're the ones that have control over these diseases. Okay. They're the ones that have control over these things. So when they want to, they can release it and they can end it. All right. That's the power that these people have been given on the left-hand side. See? Preventing pandemics from even starting by boosting surveillance of animals to lower risk of viruses spilling over to humans. And another aspect of this as well is that they're going to have to get under your skin because things are going to get so bad with the death and they're not going to really know what's, they're going to want to have surveillance under your skin, man, so they can know, okay, well, we're going to be able to know if you have a disease before you know, so that we can treat you with the proper procedure and inject you with the what. Okay, this is where it's all leading. All right, this is all roads lead to the MOTB. All right. Yeah, risk of viruses spilling over to humans as well as responding more effectively once pandemics do come. For example, by providing protective equipment to healthcare workers and aligning regulatory systems to help expand access to treatments. Now, this is all BS, all right? We already see, all right, where these devils are going. And this goes into the secret, now open counsel of the wicked, all right? So like Psalms 64. Psalm 64. Prayer for deliverance from secret enemies, all right? Now, these people on the surface, if you're not in the know, they would appear to be doing something good for humanity. They would appear to be saviors in a certain light, right? But if you understand who these people are and what type of energy that they're working with, then you know that they come in the energy and vibration of Satan, man. All right? Prayer for deliverance from secret enemies. Psalm 64:1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. All right? And in particular, all right, again, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, which is Esau, the so-called white man, okay, the so-called European. All right, they have control over the earth. They have control over the WHO. They have control over these diseases which they create inside facilities. All right, and they have the power to control it, that it can be deadly, or they have the power to stop it whenever it's accomplished what they've set out for it to accomplish, man. So King David is saying, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, okay, from their secret plans, from their ill devices that they've set up to catch you in a snare and ultimately destroy you. Verse 3, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, right? So when it says whet, to whet means to sharpen, all right? So they sharpen their tongue like a sword, man. All right, which means that this man is at war with you. And that goes back to Esau because his blessing is the sword. All right. His blessing was, by the sword shalt thou live. So everything about this man's very being, the way he moved, it all goes back to warfare. All right. Every single day, this man is playing a psyop, which is psychological warfare on your mind. All right. He has you. So let me drink some water. Esau has you in confusion. Esau got you confused. He has you second guessing yourself. He has you second guessing the Most High. All right, which this man was set up to be a stumbling block, man. You know what I'm saying? This man was set up to be the adversary, to be the opposition. You see? Verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares. You see that? Privily they say, who shall see them? All right. So all these things of which, you know, the WEF and the WHO are doing, you know, these are all snares, man, to get people destroyed ultimately. All right. In the name of peace and safety. And let's go here as well, because check this out. This is from February 24th, 2025, right? It says, BG says the next pandemic can emerge anywhere and the world isn't prepared. Again, man, this goes into the secret council of the wicked, because they've already planned these things out behind closed doors before they even let the public know about it. All right? Just like the what happened in 2020 with the CV1. All right? That came all of a sudden. Now, they were talking about it years before that, but people didn't really take it seriously because the world had never really seen something like that in a long time. So when it happened, it was like, damn, like the world is really shutting down. Like, what the hell's going on? People was at home. Nobody was working. You know what I'm saying? It was just a whole different reality. And since then, it's never been the same. All right. Since the onset of the CV19, it's really been like a different world since that time to now. All right. We can't afford to get caught flat-footed again, but these are the same devils that have manufactured these things and released them to the public. All right. So they're talking about getting caught flat-footed as if it was a surprise when these things were all deliberately done. Okay. Now, we ain't got to get into the article. Just, you know, the headline alone says enough. And then check this out as well, because your boy Klaus Schwab, okay, which he's stepped down from the spotlight. He's now behind the scenes continuing to devise iniquity. All right, with his wicked ass, man. Did WEF chair Klaus Schwab admit to planning Chinese-style lockdowns for the next pandemic? All right. Now, this is the quote. Hold on, let me see if they got the quote up in here. Matter of fact, let's just do this, right? Klaus Schwab publicly admitted that he is planning to implement China-style forced CV lockdowns all over the world during the next pandemic. You see? So what just happened yesterday, right? This was let's go back, man. Okay, the world, okay? The world has now its first ever pandemic treaty. Going back here, this article was from February 23, right? And it's saying here that this thing is going to be all over the world during the next pandemic. You see that? So very convenient timing, is it not? It says Klaus Schwab just publicly admitted he is planning to implement China-style forced CV lockdowns all over the world during the next pandemic, which he expects to happen soon. Based on such a far-reaching claim, one would expect the video shown to support or contain at the very least a reference to a pandemic, China, or lockdowns, given that it's just happened. All right, it says the last factor I want to mention is resilience, the capability to bounce back, because there will be certainly what we call the black swans, okay, which is an unexpected high-profile event that's going to shake things up, you know, which we've been seeing a lot of those recently. The unpleasant surprises which will come in our way. All right. So people are online clocking these devils, you know what I'm saying, taking account of what they've been saying. But here you go. Okay. These are the things that they have openly boasted about. And, you know, there was a video where it was Klaus Schwab. I think it was Klaus Schwab and BG. Like, they was on the same stage, man. And it was Tedros on the stage as well, the head of the WHO. And It was basically no, Salakia. It was the Pfizer president, the CEO of Pfizer. They were basically on stage boasting about how many people that they knocked off with that serpent venom, man. They was up there boasting. I forget what number they said, but I think it was like 2 million or 2 to 3 million or something like that. They was talking about. Man, I gotta find that video, but they were really on stage boasting in front of a crowd, like, yeah, we have accomplished our goal. See this. Matter of fact, let's what is that, man? That's oh man, what is that? Proverbs I think it's Proverbs 4. Where it says, for they sleep not. Proverbs, the 4th chapter. Yep, Proverbs 4:14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. You see that? So Esau's bread and drink, his food is wickedness and violence. Okay, when you look at this man's history, that's all that is filled with, man. Wickedness and violence. You see? And the scriptures even say that they sleep not. So these devils lose sleep unless they destroy somebody or destroy something. Okay, so that lets you know right there that that's really his whole purpose, man. Esau only exists to steal, to kill, and to destroy. As Yahweh Shah said, the thief cometh not but for to do. Okay, Esau is that thief, man. All right? They continuously devise mischief. They continuously devise how to destroy the earth, how to destroy the people, how to wage war on your mind. Okay, how to get you to go off. You know what I'm saying? This is what Esau do. And this right here that you're seeing come out the weft, it's like it come out the who, is nothing different. Okay, this is all the secret counsel of the wicked now coming to the forefront. All right. But for those of us that's in the know, let's go Proverbs 27. Proverbs 27. Come on, man. Hate that typo. Proverbs 27 and verse 11. My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproacheth me. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. You see that? So a prudent man. All right, let's go into, let's see if that word prudent is there in this verse. Prudent. Aram. Strong 6175. Right? To be subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. Right? Having good insight, man. Having good insight into the future. All right? Knowing what is to come, then you act accordingly. That's being prudent. All right? So the scriptures say that a prudent man foresee the evil. Okay, we foresee the evil. All right? We see what this devil is coming with, man. And this thing is going to take the world off guard because they're so, overloaded with so many other evils that are taking place, man. You know what I'm saying? To where when this thing comes, just like the CV-19, nobody's going to see it coming. It's going to be a very grievous time to be alive. All right? That's why it says the simple pass on and are punished. All right? Even though the warning is going out from the prophets, the simple are passing on, and eventually they're going to have to catch their own judgment, man. You see, because you can't say that you wasn't warned when these things come down. All right? That's going to be your ass. All right, let's go to Proverbs 18. All right? Because, hey, those of us that have our faith, have our life in Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, we going to call on those names, and hey, we know that we going to be safe, man. All right? That's our continuous prayer that, we be counted worthy to escape the trying times and the evil coming upon this earth, which is the judgment of the Lord. All right, Proverbs 18:10, the name of the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. See? So you call upon the names of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Hey, that's our strong tower. That's where we can have refuge at. You see? It's not going to be calling on God. It's not going to be calling on JC. All right? It's not going to be calling on Allah, calling on Vishnu. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of that going to do you no good in that day, man. It's Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay? It's going to keep you safe from the evil. All right? Call upon those names in faith. Believe upon those names in faith. And exercise the faith that the Lord has given you. All right? That's ultimately how you're going to escape what's coming on the earth, because the scriptures already tell you that mass death is going to come. And we already see that it's taking place, but there's more to come. All right? And that's what this thing right here is really all about. Now, I went to, is it still there? Okay. Yeah, I had typed in, what did I type in? What are some global policies of the New World Order? Let's see what pops up. All right. So multilateralism and global governance. Okay, which is what see, global governance, man. That's what that article is going into. They passed a global pandemic treaty. You see that? Emphasis on cooperation through international institutions like the UN, World Health Organization. Wow, that's a spirit, man. Okay? It's not a coincidence that the World Health Organization is in there, because this is one of the tenets of the NWO. All right, this is how they're going to govern the earth once this chaos comes down. World Trade Organization and International Monetary Fund, which all these things are working in tandem to create this new world. All right, efforts to strengthen global coordination on issues like health crisis, see, climate change, and nuclear proliferation. Can't make this up. Sustainable development and climate action. Adoption of the UN Sustainable Development, okay, which that goes into net zero, basically putting everything on the grid, doing away with, fossil fuels, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Global agreements like the Paris Climate Accord, aiming to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limit global warming, which that's nothing more than limiting your carbon use, okay, which carbon is contained within all life forms, man. So this devil wants to limit your life force, all right? He even wants to tax your life force. That's why he's going to implement a carbon tax soon come. All right, promotion of green energy, sustainability, and infrastructure and environmental regulation, digital governance and cyber security, growing push for global rules on digital spaces, coordination on preventing cyber warfare, misinformation, and technological monopolies, right? It goes on and on. Human rights, global economic integration, security, and anti-terror. All right, so all these things are the basic framework for what is going to be in this beast system, man. All right, and in order for you to get down with this, you're gonna have to take a mark, okay, which is the RFID microchip that you're gonna receive in your brain, or it's gonna go in your right hand or your left hand, all right, as the scriptures outline. So all these things are leading to this, man. All right, but to get people there, they're gonna have to make you afraid. All right, they're trying to make people doubt Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and trust in them as their saviors, trust in them as God. Okay, which from the masses of the people, they already got them there. All right, but really who they want is the remnant. Okay, they want the remnant, because the remnant hold the testimony of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, so that's the real danger to this man's kingdom. All right, Esau understands that if he wants to rule forever, okay, which is not going to happen anyway, but if he wants to rule forever, then he has to take out those that have the testimony of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because we are the biggest threat to his kingdom. Okay, we have the ability, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmil Shai to wake up the elect. All right, which, you know, that's something that Esau can't have, man, because once, as his lies are being unfounded, he's having nothing left to stand on. So ultimately, he's going to have to come down with the sword, okay, which is really what this whole world pandemic treaty is. He's coming down with the sword, all right? So, yeah, man, you know, this is what it's all about, and they going to come with it, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and end right there. Lord willing, that's edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, Shalom to the elect. Come Yashala, Wa Ba. On to the next one, Shalom.